What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D'Lo. I have another video for you guys, and this one is a lot of fun. I'm really excited to talk about this because I don't really talk about a lot of games very often, but I'm really excited to talk about this one and what it could mean for all of us Star Wars fans. Now, let me go ahead and just shift my screen so I can discuss with you guys, communicate in person. So, welcome back. If you guys have been following any of my Star Wars news recently on Instagram, but also out here on YouTube, the High Republic is what is the big push right now for Star Wars, at least in publication. And we're anticipating that that's going to be the next big push for TV and for film as well. Now, that's great and all for originality, original characters, original stories. Is a huge time period of a couple hundred years between the beginning of the High Republic and the Phantom Menace. So that gives you a little bit of leeway to play around with new stories, characters, worlds even, and watching how the Republic expands into the greater parts of the galaxy and becomes the Republic that is big enough to eventually become the Galactic Empire. So I wanted to talk with you guys about some news that I saw pertaining to video games, which it appears to deviate from that a little bit. Again, this seems to be a leak. It seems to be unannounced. It's technically unofficial, but we'll talk about how we can take a look at that. The grain of salt we need to take with this bit of news as well. And we can discuss its validity, but please leave questions, comments, and we'll talk about this again. Not officially announced, but you'll see what it is. So let me shift the screen so you can see and follow along with me here. So here we have an unannounced Star Wars game appears to leak via PlayStation Network. Now, I'll go ahead and read this. So follow along if you can. It might be a little small on your screen where you're watching this on your phone, perhaps, but just do your best. Try to follow along, and I'll read it and highlight with you. So, Star Wars Project Maverick listing reportedly added to the European PSN. The word Maverick here seems to be possibly very telling of it being an aerial video game, like some sort of like starfighter. I'll talk about more why I think that in just a second, but also the images that it gives us seem to indicate that as well. So it says here, a new Star Wars video game, one that hasn't been officially announced by publisher Electronic Arts, may have been revealed thanks to a data mined PlayStation Store listing. According to Twitter account PSN Releases, which I have linked in the description so you guys can find that and check that out as well. It says, which is run by a bot that monitors Sony's PlayStation Network for new PlayStation 4 game releases and updates. It says that a title called Star Wars Project Maverick is in development. And now these project names are not always the name. These are not necessarily the names that the game will be called, but Project Maverick, it could be the name, but it could be like how films often will have, they'll have a working title. It's very, very different than what the actual title of the movie is. And it's just there as a placeholder so that if that name gets leaked, people still don't really know what it is. But sometimes they can be based off of a like an idea that represents the film. So it could be what's the word I'm thinking of? Synonymous, or it could be kind of telling you the gist of what you might be looking at. So it could or could not be. A lot of what ifs here. It says the title was simply uploaded as Maverick, according to the Twitter account, but was paired with artwork that revealed a potential new Star Wars game. That artwork features a lone Imperial Star Destroyer and a small fleet of X-Wing starfighters, implying that the project would likely take place around the original Star Wars trilogy era. And I'll scroll it down here. You may not be able to see this, but down right above the word from and Kotako that I have highlighted here. Look just above that in the dark space between the 2 points of lava. You can see 3 little white specks. Those are actually X-Wings, X-Wing fighters. And there's a few more as well heading towards, we're looking at the back of those X-Wing fighters, heading towards the Star Destroyer, which appears to be coming towards our view, our screen. So I'm guessing, especially being that Maverick usually is linked to, you know, like a free spirit, or in the case of film history, Top Gun being an aerial pilot. I think Maverick is going to end up being a starfighting type of video game, much like the Star Fox series, where you have basically another form of an X-Wing. You have an R-Wing in the case of Star Fox, not Star Wars. And then you're star piloting around in these knockoff X-Wings, you know, trying to take out bosses and bad guys. And Battlefront actually had a really good, well-functioning version of starfighting in it as well. It still does. And it's gotten better since the launch. Originally at launch, I wasn't impressed, but they smoothed out a lot of the gameplay, I think, and it went really well for me. I really enjoyed the starfighting aspects of that, especially in the story arcs with like Iden Verso. So, or Versio, I think it is. I think there's an I at the end of that before the O. Versio. Iden Versio. And so I really enjoyed that. Now let me go ahead and show you. I showed you guys the image, but let me read this little paragraph here at the, right above the image. The setting for that aerial battle in the image appears to be Mustafar, the volcanic planet sanctuary to Darth Vader. Mustafar first appeared in Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and has been featured in multiple films and animated series. There are other planets that exist in the Star Wars universe that are lava-filled and not necessarily Mustafar, but it is the most common. It is the most well-known, and it's got a lot of history that ties directly to Darth Vader, who is essential to the Empire. And so when we're talking about X-Wings and we're talking about Star Destroyers, we're talking about the imperial reign of the Sith, or rather Emperor Palpatine. So it has to be kind of around that, you know, between Order 66 and before the First Order, probably. That's probably where that time frame is. So it does bend maybe a little before, maybe during, maybe a little after the original trilogy. So that does seem to make sense from a visual standpoint if what we're looking at is legit, if this really is a leak from EA or whoever this was. So then let me go ahead and continue reading down here. It says, according to a recent report from Kotaku, publisher Electronic Arts, which has exclusive rights to develop Star Wars games, has 2 new Star Wars projects in development. And I actually linked this. If you click on this one here, the Kotaku, I have that right here. And this article here, a little bit of an older one, but it does a good, not very old, but fairly recent, with a lot of dated information to give you a historical timeline of why what they're saying is true, talking about the different projects that have been in development, and it gives you some good history there. So check that out. The link is in the description below. I always want to make sure I give you guys the sources so you can do that research and history yourself. So you know I'm not just, you know, like jumping around or looking at BS. If I am looking at BS, you can source check like I do, and you can say, hey man, you got that wrong, or this was not what they were saying. I want to be able to make sure that we're talking about the truth. You know what I mean? It's not my truth. It's not some like subjective whatever. Let's find the truth. You know what I mean? Even in these theories, even in these potential leaks, potential rumors, potential lies, they could be, but that's why we do this together. So it says, which has exclusive rights to develop Star Wars games. Has 2 new Star Wars projects in development. A sequel to Respawn's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Wow. I'm going to stop there for a second because I flipping love Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. That game was so good. It was so well done, so much fun. I love the gameplay style. I love the adventuring, kind of parkouring around the place, learning new Jedi moves, developing your lightsaber, developing your droid's capabilities to help you in the puzzle solving and whatnot. It is a great game. If you have not played Jedi Fallen Order, you absolutely must. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you're going to like that game. I almost guarantee it. Like I can't think. The only complaint I've heard from anybody, was that they wish there was more to play. Like when they beat the game, when they finally beat it, they were like, wow, I don't want that to end. I want that to keep going. It's so good. Please give me more. And not to spoil too much, but I do think they end the game in a way where I do believe the story can and probably will continue. So this is actually not far-fetched to hear that a sequel to Respawn's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is in order. It is something that is hopefully coming to pass. So I hope that that's the case. Now, I don't think that Star Wars Project Maverick will be that game. Odds are that's going to be a secondary game, probably this next one, they say, and a smaller, more unusual project at EA Motive. And then it continues and says, Motive, the one that they just mentioned about the smaller, more unusual project, co-developed Star Wars Battlefront 2 and was working on another untitled Star Wars project. Like I mentioned earlier, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has an aerial aspect to that game where you can jump in Millennium Falcon or Slave One, or you can jump in an X-Wing or whatever. Oh, TIE Fighter. Sorry, guys. A little bit tired. TIE Fighter or a number of different aerial vehicles and start to engage in space battles. So for me, it makes a lot of sense that the company Motive, it's called Motive Studios, which co-developed Star Wars Battlefront 2, being involved in a game that involves aerial combat, also is working on a smaller, more unusual project. That smaller, more unusual project is very likely the offshoot of Battlefront 2 and is likely this right here, Project Maverick. I think that that's what that's going to be. I think that they're going to create an entire story arc, storyline based almost 100% off of aerial missions, aerial combat, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. I would have such a blast with that. Personally, I really like those types of games. So for me, it would be a great thing. And I think I want to hear from you. Do you like the aerial combat in Battlefront, or do you just prefer to keep it on the ground, troops, Jedi heroes, that kind of thing? Which I also love, but I would really like to have a game like Project Maverick if that's what they're talking about here. So yeah, definitely a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order must happen. I'm pretty sure it will because it was a financial success, but with this one, I do think that Maverick is probably going to be this ace combat aerial fighter type of thing, and I'm looking forward to that. So that's good. So that is pretty much the end of this here article. It doesn't say much here except for this. Polygon has reached out to EA for comment and additional information on Project Maverick. And so we'll probably likely hear back from them soon if this leak is true. And if it's not, they might just say, sorry, it's not. So I wanted to show you guys before we cut this one out, really quick. There's this article here which gives you the quick history of EA canceled a Star Wars Battlefront spin-off last year, which I think was probably a version of maybe Project Maverick or some other type of game. They talk about how an open world type of Battlefront game was supposed to happen but didn't, and then they moved it to a different they moved it up to Canada and tried to make something else up there, and then that ended up falling short again. But now they're putting out, well, not putting this out, but it's been leaked that this is supposed to be coming up on the PSN release. The account here that is the bot that follows PlayStation Network releases, is here. You can find them right here. So it says notifies you about the PlayStation 4 game releases and updates. I am a robot and my dad is, and then it gives you the name. Pretty cool stuff. But this is what it grabbed. So that's nice. That's really awesome. Follow that if you want to get some more details about like what is and is not coming. This one is unclear whether or not this is going to be intentional, or if this was just something that was uploaded as like a placeholder. We don't know exactly, but it is fun to speculate. And one thing is for certain, that EA did upload something. They uploaded something, which means they're working on a project, and we do have no doubts that that's what they are doing. So it's just fun to speculate. Now, lastly, if you guys do not mind, I would really appreciate your help on this. So if you guys didn't know, channels that are under 1,000 subscribers on YouTube don't make any AdSense money. They don't. That's not how it works. You have to be over that. So I need your help to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you are watching this and you have not subscribed, please subscribe or consider subscribing. It means a lot to me. Help me hit that goal of 1,000. But another way that you could support the channel, if you like what I make, if you like the content I'm putting out here, my channel, The Stuff of Legend, also has a TeePublic account, which is going to allow you to get some sweet, awesome merch. Not just stuff that says The Stuff of Legend, but for instance, if you're a Star Wars fan, let me go ahead and show you this. My website is linked down below, and I've also linked this specific genre of t-shirts and designs. The sequels are my favorite, Best in the Parsec. I've got tons of lightsaber designs up here so you can get your favorite Jedi or Sith's lightsabers. I've got the Mudhorn Signet. Designs that I've done sci-fi with the periodic table elements. Trust Only in the Force with Cal Kestis. Lots of different designs I've done here. All your favorite rifles, Star Wars is Dead, Change My Mind, which I disagree with, but I know many of you don't. So I put that up there. Lots of other things, Camino Cloning Facility logo, all kinds of stuff. Tough as Beskar, you name it. There's lots of designs for Star Wars fans that I made and am making all the time. Got a couple fun ones. Gungans Suck, Captain Rex, This Is the Way, Mace Windu's lightsaber. You can find all kinds of fun stuff. Sabine Wren lightsaber is the dark saber. And so you can find these designs in t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, crewneck sweaters, long sleeve sweaters. Check it out. You can see all of these different things. Phone cases, stickers, pins. So check it out. Support the channel if you can. It means a great deal to me if you do. And don't worry, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to support financially, no worries. But please, before you leave, like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's going to help me get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. And then I can feed my babies, can feed my kids. I'm a father of 3, by the way. So if you didn't know that, I got 3 babies that are starving over here. So help me out that way. Like, share, comment, subscribe, or get yourself some sick merch down below. I've got mugs and all kinds of fun things too. You guys are the best. I'm going to go ahead and cut over to my end screen so that I can say toodles to you guys. But hit me up in the comments. I want to talk to you guys about Star Wars. What kind of Star Wars game do you want? Do you want another open world, maybe an MMORPG like Knights of the Old Republic? What kind of games are you into, and would you like to see Star Wars maybe venture into a different kind of game? Maybe another pod racing game would be fun. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this down below, and I will see you guys next time right here on The Stuff of Legend. Hey guys, D-Lo here. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And remember to share this video with all of your nerd friends. I know you got them, and you know who they are. Leave a comment below and let me know what you thought about this discussion. Let me know what you would like to see me do a video on next. Subscribe to the channel because you're a legend, and we have that in common. Also be sure to turn on notifications to be notified right away when I upload my next video, or so that you can be alerted when I go live next time. That way you'll never miss a thing. Check out the other videos on the channel so that we can have a discussion on all your favorite movies and TV topics. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.